Do I think guns are gonna save Dying Light 2 from the catastrophe that's currently experiencing? Um, Long answer, no. Short answer, no.
Better be empty.
Just no.
I'll
I
struggle to talk my way
I
out
do
of
not
this.
think that that game is going to prosper from having guns in it finally after all this time. Like, I remember when I was playing that game how hard the game tried to convince me why there are no guns in the game. There's a war and everybody had their guns taken away, and that's why you can't use guns in the game. Honestly, I think Techland was hiding behind that excuse because it couldn't figure out how to get guns to actually work in the game, and that's why there weren't guns in the game. Because what they would have had to have done was they would have had to have figured out how the renegades, like what renegades would be using guns against you while you had guns. I don't think they could work it out right. I don't think they could. And that's why there were no guns in the game for the longest time. So, um, and I'm here to tell you right now, if the player gets, if you get to have guns and nobody else gets to have guns in the game, okay, no other human enemies get to have guns, it's just you. I'm gonna call it right now. It's bullshit. Okay, it's gonna be absolute bullshit. It's gonna be a desperate grab for your love and admiration that they lost. And they did lose it. They lost the confidence of their fan base and their community when they introduced that store the way they did. And I think that introducing guns in the game finally is Techland's way. It's their way of trying to win back the love of their community. But I don't think it's going to work. I really don't think it's going to work. I think it's going to be a novelty that's going to bring in some folks that stop playing the game. But once the novelty wears off of you having guns, you're going to remember why you don't play the game anymore. Because for a lot of people, it was never about the guns. Guns is just a band-aid, a temporary band-aid to try to fix the interesting gameplay issues or lack of interesting
Man,
gameplay
come
issues
on.
with
You
that
have the
game.
right to stay down.
No. Short answer, guns are not going to save Dying Light 2. Long answer, guns are not going to save Dying Light 2. There'll be people coming in to check the guns out.
Thank you, Lady Luck.
You'll get to have guns. I'm going to say that renegades are not going to have guns.
Right.
And they're not going to have guns because they don't know.
Cool. Dibs on the shotgun.
They probably
boys.
aren't going to be able
I've
to
hit the
get the guns
jackpot.
to behave properly when they're in the hands of NPCs. So it's just going to be you having a gun. You're going to go around. You'll be like, yeah, yeah, down, down. And that's gonna pique your interest for probably about maybe 10 hours. And then the average player is just going to go back to playing something else. Starfield or something else, you know. Whatever the kids are playing these days. If you're smart, you go back to playing Dying Light. Dying Light's a better game. It just is. It's just the way it is. Just the way it is, baby. Just the way it is. It's a better game. So yeah, when guns finally do make their debut in Dead Island 2 or Dying Light 2, I'll be very curious. Be very curious. see how long it retains the attention of the community. I'm gonna probably not very long.
Sup? Giant Slayer Jack is back. He brings weapons.
Sweet. Where'd you find it?
Or else.
So yeah, I'm just gonna say it right now. No, guns are not gonna save Dying Light 2. Yeah, and it's an interesting thing because there's people that really believe they want guns in the game to the extent that they feel like it's going to save the game. Like they say to themselves, "Oh, well, if I just had guns, I would like the game a lot better." If you add guns to a game that still has nothing of substance to do in it, then it's still just the same game that you stop playing. And there is a lot of people stop playing. A lot of people. I've been watching the player count. It's pitiful. It really is. And Techland did themselves no favors by adding that ridiculous store in. And yeah, people say, "Oh, Techland always had stuff to buy. You could always buy skins and superior weapons for the game. They did it for this first game too." Not like this though. Not like this. No. No. They took the Ubisoft formula of creating a digital currency and they set it so they priced everything to where you would actually have to spend more money to buy the currency, to buy the skins, and the superior weapons. Yeah. You can still go on Dying Light 1, check out the different stuff you can buy for the game in the PlayStation Store, and spend like $3, $4, maybe $5 getting like cool weapons, cool skins. But there's nothing in the system that forces you to spend $10 so you can spend 7 of it to buy those things, right? It's set up. They're pumping you for money, right? And of course, then you have the excess points left over that entices you to spend more money to stack those points up so you can buy more stuff. It's a money pit is what it is. They did that on purpose because they saw what Ubisoft did with their in-game stores and they wanted to do it like that. Yes, they are taking advantage of you. All right. So yeah, the setup they had for the first game is nothing like this game. So and I'm just shocked that some of you can't do simple math and see how this new system is taking advantage of you. When you have to spend $10 to buy something that is raised to an imaginary price, like $7. Okay, when you have to spend 10 so you can spend $7, you're being taken advantage of. That is not the same as the original game. You're lying to yourself if you think that Dying Light 1's store economics is the same as Dying Light 2's. You're literally lying to yourself, right? So, but yeah, no, I don't think guns are going to save Dying Light 2. I think you'll have some people that'll get on to play with the guns. They could be buggy. As long as the NPCs don't have guns in the game, it won't be nearly as buggy or you won't notice it as much, right? But I'm going to say right now, you put a gun in the hands of an NPC renegade in Dying Light 2, get prepared. Be prepared to be shot through walls, right? Because the gun mechanics just don't work right. But it's not about that. Like the average player is going to love it because, they're going to have guns and they're never going to ask why human enemies don't have guns, right? Because they always want the extra edge over the human enemies, right? They're never going to ask why the human enemies can't have guns. If Techland is ballsy enough to put guns in the hands of NPCs like renegades, I'll be impressed. But putting a gun in the hand of a player, I'm not impressed. That's boring. It's really boring. You're the only one's got a gun. You can just shoot everything, right? So yeah, that's boring. I don't think it's going to save the game. I think it's going to make people interested to check the game out. I'm not going to. I'm not. But I will be interested in watching other people play the game, honestly. Okay? Play the game honestly and show us what it actually feels like to shoot guns in that game. All right? Don't try to hide its shortcomings. Like a lot of content creators who simp for Techland try to hide the shortcomings of like stuff like guns. They try very hard. They edit the footage to make the game seem more exciting and more stable than it really is, right? They do that all the time. I'd be very curious to see how guns are added into that game. But I'm not going to sit there and pretend like, yeah, this is going to save the game. It's not going to. Right? It's just not. There's no way. You can't convince me of that. But I will be keeping a close eye on this because uh, at the very least, it's going to be kind of interesting. At the very most, it's probably going to be a shit show. So, yeah. Guns and Dying Light 2. Finally, they spent so much time when the game first came out trying to convince you why you can't use guns. The military took everybody's guns away. Nobody knows where they're at. You know, they sold you that, and now they're trying so hard to keep their head above water, and in desperation now they're finally going to roll out guns for the game and completely shit all over the lore that they initially presented to you over guns. Guns are not going to save the game because it doesn't change the fact of how grindy the game is and how insignificant you are in the story. Like, no matter what storyline you're working with, whether you're doing stuff for Baba, which was my favorite. I loved the missions for Baba. But when it's over, you're nothing, you're chopped liver. There's nothing exciting that gets you out there doing things for the people of Villador. You're going to come to a brick wall in terms of things to do in the game. And people are going to remember that. And then the numbers are like, what is it, 2,100 people at the moment right now playing on Steam, which is the largest ecosystem in gaming. I will expect that number to climb anywhere from 5 to maybe even 8,000 players when guns come out. And then after a while, it's just going to taper back down to about 2 to 3,000 players again, because there's a lot wrong with Dying Light 2. A lot. A game like Dead Island 2 it keeps you here for a good time. A game like Dying Light 2 is designed to keep you there for a long time. They want you grinding, all right? And then they want to, at some point, sell you the solution to the grinding, right? Whether it be more powerful weapons through paid DLC, or maybe sell you trophies or legendary points. These things will eventually come in the store. I just know it. So yeah, Dying Light 2's they're forcing you to keep you there for a long time. Whether or not you're having a good time, that's up to you. And apparently the community has spoken. There ain't a whole lot of people having a good time with Dying Light 2. Some people say, oh, but I am. Yeah. For every one person that says, I love Dying Light 2 and I'm still playing it, there's like thousands of people who stopped playing it a long time ago. All right? It's the thousands of people that left it a long time ago that matters to Techland. Not you. Not you. I still love the game. Okay? Because you're already hooked. They don't need to care about you anymore. They don't give a shit about you. They want to continue to find a way to entice those thousands of players who walked away from the game. They don't care about you, Mr. I still love the game. They want the people back who did love the game at one point, myself included, and they can't keep us. They keep trying, but they only put simple solutions in place. They don't actually listen. Oh, Techline listens. No, they didn't, because if they did, there would be more interesting side content that keeps you coming back to Villador. And they never do that because that takes time. It takes commitment. It takes passion. And they'd rather do simple things that don't add up to anything. Okay? They listen to this and they listen to that. If they were actually listening to real feedback, then they wouldn't have 2,000 players on Steam right now. They'd have 5, 6, 7, 8,000 players. Okay? They don't actually listen. They listen to the cheap Band-Aid stuff and they try to implement that, and then it looks like they're listening. They don't want to do anything real. But yeah, Dying Light 2 is going to have guns in the game, finally. Isn't that great? After all these time, they're finally going to put guns in the game because they're so desperate. Nobody's playing their game. Yeah. Dying Light 2 is going to have guns in the game. Yay! Everybody's singing its praises. That's not going to save the game. Sorry. Anyway, that's all I got for now. You all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening. And I will catch you on the flip side.